Hello, everyone. This is Kelly Hillier, 8th grade English teacher on the Blizzard team. Thank you for watching this video in place of a January in-person meeting. Please watch the video with your 8th grader all the way through so both of you are informed about what happens next in the DC, New York trip planning process. So if you need to pause the video to go get them, please feel free to do that now. As you navigate through this video, each slide's background shows some of the awesome sights that we'll be seeing in 5.5 months. The registration process went smoothly with lots of interest from 8th grade students. We currently have 85 confirmed students for the trip. This means that once we arrive in DC, we will have 2 motor coach buses to travel in. Over the course of the next few months, I will be working on confirming flight arrangements, hotel arrangements, and any other ticketed events on our itinerary. The behind the scenes work is a lot of fun as I plan an amazing and unforgettable experience for your child. With 85 confirmed students, we will have 7 CMS teacher chaperones, which gives us a 1:12 ratio of teacher to students. It is a perfect size small group to navigate in and around our itinerary sites. Our fall fundraiser with Drool and Moose was a success. We had 29 students participate, total sales of $12,180, which gave a profit of $2,738 back to the students. There will be another fundraiser in the spring, so more information will be following that. Communication is key prior to and while we are on the trip. I have a couple of platforms to communicate with parents. Number 1, mass email, and then 2, the remind text, which I'll talk about next. To communicate with students, announcements can be handed out in class, in school, and they will also have the remind text group as well. If you need or want to get a hold of me, my email is on the screen, and I do check the school Gmail frequently each day. The Remind text is a great communication platform that we will use for parents and students. It is safe, user-friendly, and very convenient. Phone numbers stay private and standard data rates apply. Parents will want to join the parent text group just in case there are flight delays flying out and back into Minneapolis. Students will want to join the student text group so we can communicate with them while we are on the trip. The next 2 slides will show you how to sign up. It takes about 15 to 30 seconds to join. For parents, you will want to text 81010 with the following code: the @ symbol, E as in Edward, H as in Henry, F as in Frank, A as in Apple, E as in Edward, G as in George. Be sure to do the @ symbol, otherwise it won't work. Text messages from me will come into your text message area on your phone. If you want to get the Remind text app on your phone, you certainly can do that, but it is not required. If I text something out to the entire group and you want to ask me a question back, you can definitely do that, and I'm the only one that sees that question. So your question or comment does not go back to the large group. Once you hit send to join in this group, it will most likely ask for your name. Please type your first and last name and then hit send again. If you want to pause the video now to sign up, you certainly can, as it only takes about 15 to 30 seconds to do this. Students will do the same process, but they'll have a different code. So students will text 81010 with the following code: the @ symbol, 8873AA. Be sure to do the @ symbol, students, or it won't work. If you want to pause the video now for your student to sign up, feel free to do that. At our May meeting, the small group chaperones will create a group text for their small group as well. Your child has been given a manila envelope with 2 packets in it to bring home. The first packet has an introductory letter, CMS confirmed roster, frequently asked questions from parents, frequently asked questions from students, a suggested packing list, and the details about the Arlington wreath laying essay contest. Packet number 1 is for student and families to keep at home. Packet number 2 consists of 5 forms that need to be completed and returned to me, Mrs. Hillier, by Wednesday, January 17th. Because some of the forms have confidential information on it, please have your child return the forms in the manila envelope that was provided. If somehow the manila envelope does not get home or gets misplaced, the 2 packets will be emailed to parents electronically as well. The following will highlight some key points of the forms. Packet 1, page 1 is basically a cover letter. You can read through that on your own. The 2 biggest things for this page are the due dates for all the forms, which is Wednesday, January 17th. It is imperative that the forms are returned by the deadline so that you don't hold up the next steps of the planning process for me. The second thing is to mark your calendar for Tuesday, May 28th. All students and at least one parent must attend this meeting to receive all trip information before we depart. Packet 1, page 2 is the confirmed student roster as of December 15th. So students will want to check this to see who is confirmed for the trip. The next 4 pages of the packet are frequently asked questions by parents. You can read through all of the questions and answers at your leisure, but there are a few that I would like to highlight. The first question I'd like to highlight is question number 2. Can my child use frequent flyer miles for the airline ticket? Can they basically accumulate miles? No. In regards to accumulating miles for the trip, usually the airlines we travel on do not allow students to accumulate miles on a reduced group rate ticket. The next one is question number 3. My child wants to pack his or her gaming console. Can they do that? This is not recommended because we are constantly on the move. When we get back to the hotel, the kids are usually exhausted and don't have time or energy for gaming. Gaming consoles and or games are expensive, and we would not want to have the student lose or forget any of the equipment at the hotel. The next question I would like to highlight is number 12. Will the teacher chaperones give my child instructions on where to go and when to meet back with the group? And the answer to that is absolutely. But it is very important that they listen to the instructions that are given at all times and at every location. They will want to be aware of their surroundings, pay attention to group announcements, group texts, always be with a buddy. And before they break away from the group to explore, they need to know the meeting time, the meeting location, how and where to exit the building. The teachers will give very clear instructions all the time on what to do, but it is their job to pay very close attention to those instructions. It may be helpful as a parent to reinforce this talking point at home. And the last question that I want to cover in regards to the parents' commonly asked question is number 14. Is Times Square and or New York safe? Obviously, there is an inherent risk anytime you travel anywhere in the world. We will do our very best to ensure that our group is safe. Ways that your child can help with that are always wearing their lanyard, always having a travel buddy, never going anywhere off by themselves, listening to instructions, staying with their small group when instructed by their chaperone, and watching their surroundings. We will say and remind students of these steps and strategies many, many, many times on the trip. It is important they keep their eyes up, then they are looking around when they're walking, and that they're not on their phone. It is also important to remember that they will see a lot of interesting people and events, especially in Times Square. It is not advised to take pictures of people dressed up in character or people who are performing in front of a small or large crowd. People that are doing that want money for their talent, and oftentimes they will want your child to pay for the photo that they are taking of them. So students will be instructed to not engage, talk, or take any flyers or handouts from strangers on the street. When they buy souvenirs, they will be buying items in a store and never from a street vendor. We have specific souvenir shops and stores that are student friendly and have lots of really cool items. We will have two New York guides with our group the entire time to help us navigate the sites as we're moving around. And we will be using the New York subway on the last morning of our trip to go to and from the Statue of Liberty. We will be on the subway for only a short time at 9 a.m. Students will be given clear and specific directions on how we will use the subway, and it will be required that they are with their small group, chaperone, and New York guides at all times. It may be helpful to reinforce these talking points with your child at home. We have used the New York subway every single time we go to New York, and specifically at that time in the morning, and it is usually very um, uh, uh, slow, where there's not a lot of people, locals on the subway at that time. The next several pages of the packet are student commonly asked questions. And I know that you can read through those on your own time, but I would like to go through a few of these questions and answers as well. It is very important for your student to read through all of these questions so that they go into the trip knowing and not go into it unknowingly. All the questions and answers in this packet are ones that have actually been asked by students on previous trips many times. The ones that I would like to highlight on this particular sheet is number 1. And the question is, do I have to hang out with only students in my small group and only the students on my bus for the entire trip? And it's a really good question. You will be with your bus group for transportation. You'll be with your small group for head count purposes, passing out information, small group photos, and during certain places and events in New York. When we are at various museums and sites, you can walk around with anyone from the CMS group. We believe in being inclusive and we want everyone to have a great time. With that said, please be sure to listen to your bus time and location meeting spot because we may have to stagger the two buses for different entrance times and exit times. The other question that I would like to cover is number 2. Once we are in DC, can I switch buses and ride with other people? And this is a hard no. You will be assigned to either bus 1 or 2 and a small group within that bus. Generally speaking, both buses will ride in tandem to most locations, so you will get to see the other students on that other bus once we arrive at our destination, but you will always ride your assigned bus for the entire trip. Each student will be assigned a number and will take attendance on both buses frequently every day to ensure all students are present. The next question that I would like to go over is number 15. And that question is, will I be able to meet up with some other CMS kids in the hotel and walk around the hotel lobby or pool area when we get back in the evenings? And this is also a hard no. We will be truly at the hotel just to sleep. We get up early and stay out late. When we get back to the hotel and after we've had our large group meeting for the evening, we will all head to our rooms for the night. The next question is question number 20. Is it okay to cheer loudly and or scream during takeoff on the airplane? And you might laugh at this a little bit, but sometimes when our groups are traveling on the plane and we have most of the seats taken up, so it kind of feels like Century owns the plane or it's like a chartered jet, students get the idea that maybe they can cheer really loudly on takeoff or landings or yell really loudly. And we just want to be reminded that there are other passengers on the plane and that we have inside voices that are being used. The next question is number 29. Will the teacher chaperone give me instructions on where to go and when to meet back with the group? Absolutely. But it is very important that you listen to the instructions that are given at all times at every location, to always be traveling with a buddy when you're able to walk around on your own and know when and where and what time we're going to meet back up. The teachers will give clear instructions on what to do all the time, the entire trip, but it is your job to pay attention to those specific instructions. And then the last question I want to just cover, and you can look at the other ones on your own, is question number 32. Is this trip going to be fun? I've heard that we're learning the entire time. And the question or the answer to those questions are absolutely. You are going to have fun and you're going to be learning at the same time. This is an awesome experience and so much fun to travel with friends and teachers that you've worked with throughout the year. You'll be learning a lot of fun, interesting things around our nation's capital, the Big Apple, how to travel without your parents, and just how to navigate and be responsible for you and working in a small and a large group. You'll talk about this trip and the memories that you're going to be making for years. The main thing to remember with group travel is that you're going to love most things, and there will be some things that you may not care for. So, flexibility along with a positive perspective is just really key. There will be a lot of people around you that know a lot of information about the various places that we're going to go see. So, it is important to really soak up those stories and those facts and those interesting um, information that they give you, and be grateful for such an incredible experience that your parent or guardian has given you, because not everybody gets to do travel like this with their classmates and see parts of the United States like this. Page 14 in packet number 1 is a suggested packing list. And it's really important that there's a couple things that I wanted to point out here. The biggest things off of this list is really comfortable shoes. We do a ton of walking. So we're talking tennis shoes and not like wedges or slides or anything like that. Souvenir money that if you want to buy anything, and then dollar bills so that you have the ability to buy bottled water on the bus if you want to. We will constantly promote hydration, hydration, hydration. And you could also bring a refillable water bottle if you want to do it that way too. And then any over the counter items mentioned on the list. The buses do have a small emergency kit with things like gauze and band aids, but it is really helpful if students bring their own Advil, Tylenol, Dramamine, Tums, feminine products, Gold Bond for any chafing because we do a ton of walking. No need to bring your swimsuits, a big blanket, or gaming console at all. And then the last page of packet 1 is the Arlington Wreath Laying Essay Contest. Arlington National Cemetery is one of the nation's most sacred locations, honoring veterans and their families who have sacrificed their lives for our freedom. Each year, 2 students are selected to represent Century Middle School by participating in the Tomb of Unknown Soldier wreath laying ceremony. The wreath's ribbon is embossed with the name Century Middle School, and it is our way of honoring the many soldiers who have given their lives for us. The writing contest is, of course, optional. Interested students will complete a short 400 to 500 word essay, so it's very, very short, answering the following question: what is the significance of designing, constructing, and then visiting monuments of people or events from our nation's history? The essay should be typed and handed in to me or to Miss Goldberg by Friday, March 15th. Essays are then blind copied, which is without the students' names, and then read by a panel of CMS teachers that are not chaperones on the trip. 2 students then are selected based on the quality and thought of their essay. Winners are announced at our May parent and student meeting, and this is a tremendous honor and really a once in a lifetime experience. Now on to Packet 2. Packet 2 contains 5 forms that need to be completed and returned to me by Wednesday, January 17th. The forms are the student information form, medical release form, general guideline agreement form, code of conduct agreement, and then the academic year behavior agreement. The first page is simply a cover sheet saying what is in the packet. The second page is the student information page. You will notice that it doesn't ask for t-shirt sizing on this form. We will do t-shirt sizing in school, so you won't need to worry about that. We will have sample sizes, so students will be able to see exactly what size they are getting. The rooming section, which is in the middle of this page, your child would need to put down 3 students they would like to room with in order of preference. Now, remember from the September presentation and or video that we saw last fall that I will do my best to give each student at least one person from their list. It is important to make everyone feel comfortable and included, all 85 students. There are a lot of moving parts when it comes to rooming students. Students need to remember that we're not in our hotel rooms very long at all, only to put our head down on the pillow and get a little sleep before the next busy day. Your child can also put a check mark on the line indicating that they don't care who they are roomed with. Just a reminder that students cannot put waitlisted students' names down because we are not sure if they're going to clear from the waitlist. If you paid for an upgrade for a double or a triple room, please put that in the margin on this page and who the other students are that are also in that room. Families that paid for the upgrade will be honored with that request and only have those students in that room. If you remember from the fall presentation, the window to upgrade rooms was October 10th through November 3rd. So that option is now closed. If you did not do that back then all students will be placed in a quad occupancy room. Be sure that your child looks at the CMS confirmed roster in packet number 1 for the current list of confirmed travelers. The media release section on the bottom allows chaperones to take pictures of your child either individually or in groups and post them on social media platforms. If you do not want your child's picture taken, please let us know. The next 3 pages are medical forms. These forms are probably the most important for our chaperone staff so that we can take care of your child on this trip. While we appreciate students wanting to help parents fill out these forms, the medical form is one that we ask parents to complete so that it is accurate, legible, and thorough. It is very important to be honest and detailed on these forms, even if you don't think the medical information may be relevant or necessary because maybe it happened a while ago. You just never know. The more information we have, the better. A few key things that it is important for us to know if your child takes daily medication, how much, the name of it, and if you want a chaperone to administer that medication or if your child takes it on their own. It is important for us to know food sensitivities and allergies. The questionnaire is pretty self-explanatory, and the last section of the 3rd page is just reconfirming that you know how COVID works prior to the trip. The next form is the general guidelines form for the trip and the hotel. Please take time to read through all of the I understand statements with your child. Have them initial each line, and then both you and your child will sign the bottom. I am really a strong believer that agreements prevent disagreements, so we want to make sure students actually read and know what they are signing rather than just blindly agreeing to something. The next form is the code of conduct form. This form is also very important and has actually evolved over the years as some of these things on this form have actually happened on our trip. And we want to make sure that everyone knows our expectations and consequences. Because these are very important and can make or break a student's experience, I will just quickly highlight each statement. I will respect and listen to teacher chaperones, tour guides, airport security, bus drivers, and security guards at the hotel at all times. I understand once I am through security at the airport, I will go directly to the gate of departure with my group and not go back out through security. I understand inappropriate action, such as bringing, purchasing, or using drugs, alcohol, e-cigs, vape pens, THC products, gummies, etc., at any point during the trip will result in immediate dismissal from the trip and will be sent home at my parent or guardian's expense. I understand that shoplifting is an inappropriate action and will result in an immediate dismissal from the trip, and I will be sent home at my parent or guardian's expense. I agree to use my technology devices appropriately at all times. This also includes when I am not under direct supervision of a chaperone, specifically in the hotel room. For the duration of the trip, so from drop off on June 12th to pick up on June 16th, I understand that I am not allowed to take and or post inappropriate or disrespectful pictures of myself, friends, or strangers on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, etc., during the entire trip. This includes at museums, memorials, on the bus, in the hotel room. Chaperones will have the right to confiscate and hold on to devices for the remainder of the trip if this occurs. Depending on the severity, immediate dismissal from the trip may occur. I understand that I will not be on my cell phone, talking or texting while I'm crossing streets, intersections, getting on or off the bus or subway, walking along areas that have sights to see, observe, while chaperones, tour guides, bus drivers are talking and directions are being given. The last form is the academic year behavior agreement. Even though the trip isn't until June, it is important for students to make positive and safe choices for the whole school year leading up to the trip. While we don't expect students to be perfect, we do want students to avoid risky, dangerous, or unkind decisions that impact themselves and others prior to and while on the trip. We find that if students are unable to do these types of things in a school setting, they may not be able to do it in a travel setting as well, where the stakes could potentially be way higher. Again, safety for our entire group is really what's first and foremost. We have amazing students at CMS, and 99% of the time, students are doing exactly what they should be doing. We appreciate their great behavior and their excitement to make the trip fun for everyone. Here are some tentatively planned sites for our itinerary as we are putting it together. You can see that we pack a lot in 5 days. So some DC sites are several memorials that are listed on this slide. The Naval Academy, White House Picture Stop, the Vietnam Memorial, Lincoln Memorial, MLK, some really key places to stop that kids usually really like. Here are some more DC sites. The Capitol Building, we'll go inside of that for a tour. Arlington National Cemetery, Supreme Court, Library of Congress, Smithsonian Buildings. We will do a drive-by of the Embassy Row and the National Cathedral. More DC sites, the Washington Monument, the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, dinner cruise and dance on the Potomac River. We will be going to a Major League Baseball game. It does look like it is going to be the Washington Nationals. And we will get a chance to hear from a former CIA agent who was instrumental in bringing Osama bin Laden down after 9/11. And some very key fun sites that we're going to be planning in New York are listed here as well. Statue of Liberty, Fifth Avenue, Broadway Play, One World Observatory, Times Square, St. Paul's Cathedral, Hamilton's gravesite, Central Park, 9/11 Memorial Museum, Rockefeller Center, and Wall Street. So definitely a lot of super fun things. After the forms are all handed in, what happens next? Great question. Basically, your job is easy as parents. Just continue to make payments on your child's account. Both parents and students should sign up for the Remind text groups, as mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. And students just continue to make really good choices in and out of school so you don't jeopardize your ability to participate in this trip. Please mark your calendars. Our last and mandatory trip meeting will be on Tuesday, May 28th at CMS at 6:30, and that it will run till 7:45. This is a very important meeting that at least one parent and the student need to attend. I realize that everyone has really busy schedules, especially in the spring, but we do take this meeting very seriously, as your child will get their rooming assignments, their small group chaperone, their travel documents, bag tags, backpacks, t-shirts, airport boarding procedures, etc. So thank you for marking your calendar to attend. All forms are due to me, Mrs. Hillier, by Wednesday, January 17th. Your child can simply put the completed forms back in the manila folder or envelope and give them to me at school. Because there can be confidential medical information on the forms, it's great to use that envelope. I thank you in advance for returning the forms on time so that you don't hold up the next steps in the planning process for me. There's a lot of work that needs to still happen between January and May on my part. So if you can have them returned on or before January 17th, that would be fantastic. Last slide. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me anytime. I'm here to help. Thanks for watching this video with your child and completing the forms. Enjoy the rest of your winter. Stay warm, and I'm excited to create a lifelong memory for your child. Thank you for giving them this fantastic opportunity. Bye.